indicates he has been successful in removing the debris. This incident could have doomed the entire trip, but through hard work and resourcefulness, not to mention tremendous courage on the part of Takoi, the Jackson T is once again on its way to the grounds and back in a position to catch fish. This incident has been a reminder that out at sea, these fishermen have no one to rely on but themselves, and that failure to deal with the challenges they face can have disastrous consequences. For me, this has been a harrowing experience, but for Captain Wang and his crew, it's just another day at the office. A longline fishing operation is a beautifully simple yet highly efficient setup. Gear is put in the water just after sunset, starting with a heavy radio buoy attached to the 4mm monofilament mainline. As the boat travels, the line is rolled off the spool and the fishermen regularly snap smaller branch lines as it goes out. Each branch line ends with a large hook baited with a mackerel fish. Fluorescent light sticks are periodically tied on these lines as well, to attract fish in the dark of night. It takes several hours for the 40 miles to be set, and when it's all done, the fishermen grab a few hours of sleep before they begin the haul and see what fish have found their way onto the hooks. It's just after 5 a.m. on March 29th, and Captain Wang and his crew have reached the fishing grounds, set their gear, and are about to begin the first haul of the trip. The gear has been soaking for several hours now, and as the crew suit up for the day's work, a single thought occupies their minds. Will the 40 miles of area covered by last night's set yield fish, or will the Jackson T have to look elsewhere for the means to fill their hold? As the sun begins to rise, the radio buoy is brought aboard, the main line is tied to the spool, and the haul is officially underway. I can barely contain my excitement as the first leaders are retrieved from the main line and coiled into the hook boxes. It's just a matter of time before one of these hooks comes to the surface with a big fish on it. The weather is nice and the crew is settling into a routine, working together to efficiently bring hooks in, coil the branch lines and buoys, and run the boat. Deckhands Day and Chin are working the roller this morning, which means it will be they who first determine that a fish is on. About an hour into the haul, the main line gets tight and the action begins to heat up. Chin slows the boat down as a branch line bearing the weight of a large fish approaches the roller block. Day skillfully unsnaps this leader from the main line and almost simultaneously attaches it to a 30-meter fight line that the crew will use to bring the fish to the boat by hand. A large swordfish is far more powerful than any one of these fishermen alone, so rather than try to overcome the fish by aggressively pulling on the line, they skillfully give and take slack according to the fish's movements. Day and Chin can tell immediately that they are dealing with a large fish, and the whole crew springs to action in order to land it. At this point, the fight has just begun, and if they want to avoid losing the first big catch, they must work together quickly and skillfully. Chin maneuvers the boat while Day and the crew continue to fight the fish from the port side. The fish is thrashing and diving below the surface in a final attempt to free itself. When it finally breaks the surface, the crew quickly secure it with well-placed gaffs to the head and bill area. It's time to exercise some brute strength as the fish is hoisted out of the water and onto the deck. The Jackson T has landed its first fish of the trip, and it's a large sword, just what they're looking for. With the sword on deck, the work is just beginning though. As Takoi sets to work cleaning and dressing the catch, the rest of the crew untangle the gear and get right back to hauling. If they're lucky, they will repeat this process several more times before day's end.